Dr. Robert Langley, a brilliant neuroscientist in his early 40s, stood at the edge of a busy New York City sidewalk, waiting for the pedestrian light to change. The relentless cacophony of car horns and chatter of the bustling crowd filled his ears. Despite the chaos around him, his thoughts were consumed by the lecture he was about to deliver at the prestigious New York University. It was a groundbreaking study on the nature of human consciousness that had the potential to change everything. As the light turned green and the crowd began to move, Robert glanced at his watch, a gift from his late father, and felt a pang of nostalgia. He had spent countless hours in his father's laboratory as a child, developing a profound love for science that had shaped the course of his life. Robert stepped onto the crosswalk, his mind racing with anticipation. He envisioned the faces of the students and colleagues who would attend his lecture, eager to hear his insights. Little did he know that his life was about to take a dramatic turn. Out of nowhere, a reckless driver, oblivious to the traffic lights, barreled through the intersection. Time seemed to slow as the vehicle drew closer, but Robert's reaction came too late. The impact sent him hurtling through the air, his body twisting and turning in a macabre dance. The crowd gasped in horror as his crumpled form collided with the unforgiving pavement. The driver, panic-stricken, slammed on the brakes, but the damage had already been done. Bystanders rushed to Robert's side, their faces etched with concern and fear. Blood pooled around his body as his breaths came in shallow, labored gasps. His vision blurred, and the sounds of the city faded into the distance. Unbeknownst to Robert, as his life slipped away, a series of events had already been set in motion that would lead him to a reality beyond his wildest imagination. The veil between worlds was about to be lifted, and he would soon find himself at the center of a cosmic mystery that would challenge the very nature of existence itself. As Robert's consciousness slowly returned, he became aware of a dull, persistent ache that seemed to radiate from every part of his body. He tried to open his eyes, but the harsh light above him pierced through his eyelids, making him wince. It took a few more moments before he could muster the strength to fully open his eyes and take in his surroundings. He found himself in a sterile white room, devoid of any decoration or personal touches. The walls, floor, and ceiling were made of a smooth, unfamiliar material that seemed to give off a faint, otherworldly glow. He was lying on a cold, metallic slab that seemed to hover just above the ground, defying gravity. Confusion and panic set in as he realized that he was not in a hospital, but somewhere entirely different. His heart raced as he tried to move, but his limbs felt heavy and unresponsive. He looked down at his body and discovered that he was connected to a myriad of wires and tubes. The tubes snaked their way from his body to a series of machines that hummed and whirred ominously in the background. Fear surged through him as he tried to recall what had happened. The memories of the accident came flooding back. The speeding car, the impact, and the fleeting image of his father's face. He struggled to reconcile these memories with his current predicament, his mind spinning with questions that had no answers. Desperation mounting, Robert fought to free himself from the wires and tubes that held him captive. His body trembled with exertion, but the restraints were unyielding. Panic threatened to overwhelm him as he realized the futility of his struggle. Just as he was about to succumb to despair, a door appeared in the previously seamless wall. It slid open with a faint hiss, revealing a group of beings that seemed to defy all logic and reason. Their presence brought with it an unsettling mixture of curiosity and dread, as if they were the harbingers of a reality that was both terrifying and impossible to comprehend. Robert's eyes widened in disbelief as he took in their appearance. They were tall and slender, with elongated limbs and digits that seemed unnaturally jointed. Their skin was a pale, luminescent gray, appearing almost translucent under the stark light. Their eyes were the most unsettling feature, large, inky black orbs that seemed to pierce into the depths of his soul. As the beings approached, Robert's fear threatened to swallow him whole. The sterile room that had been his prison now felt like a sanctuary compared to the unknown intentions of his otherworldly captors. He braced himself for what was to come, completely unprepared for the revelations that awaited him. The beings moved with an eerie grace, their movements smooth and deliberate as they closed the distance between them and Robert. They seemed to communicate silently among themselves, their expressions inscrutable. Robert's heart pounded in his chest, his fear reaching a fever pitch as the beings loomed over him. To his surprise, one of the beings reached out a slender hand and gently touched his forehead. In that instant, Robert felt a flood of information pouring into his mind, bypassing the barriers of language and filling him with a deep, inexplicable understanding. The beings, it seemed, were an advanced extraterrestrial race known as the Architects. They had been observing humanity for millennia, studying the development of Earth's civilizations and the intricacies of human behavior. Their interest in humanity was rooted in their own quest for knowledge, as they sought to unravel the mysteries of the universe and understand the nature of consciousness itself. As Robert's mind raced to process this revelation, the Architects communicated further. They revealed that they had intervened at the moment of his death, plucking him from the simulation and bringing him into the base reality. In doing so, they had saved his life, but also exposed him to a truth that few humans could even begin to comprehend. The realization that his entire life had been part of a fabricated reality shook Robert to his core. The world he had known, the people he had loved, and the accomplishments he had achieved were all part of an elaborate illusion, a grand cosmic experiment orchestrated by the Architects. It was a truth that threatened to shatter his sanity, yet at the same time it filled him with a sense of awe and wonder. As he grappled with this newfound knowledge, Robert noticed the Architects studying him intently, their dark eyes betraying a deep curiosity. He could sense that they were evaluating him, perhaps even questioning their decision to bring him into their world. He felt a sudden, inexplicable desire to prove himself, to show these beings that he was worthy of the truth they had bestowed upon him. With this resolve burning in his chest, Robert steeled himself for the challenges that lay ahead. He knew that he had been given a rare opportunity, a glimpse into a reality that few could ever hope to experience. The path before him was uncertain, fraught with danger and unimaginable revelations, but it was a journey he was determined to see through to the end. As Robert's mind absorbed the shocking revelations, the Architects continued to share their knowledge with him. They explained that they had been conducting their experiments in simulated realities for eons, seeking to understand the nature of consciousness and its connection to the fabric of existence. The Earth, they revealed, was one of countless simulations they had created, each with its own unique set of parameters and variables. By observing and interacting with these simulations, the Architects hoped to unlock the secrets of the universe and advance their own understanding of the cosmos. Robert's own life and work had caught their attention, particularly his groundbreaking research on the human brain and consciousness. His theories on the nature of reality and the possibility of simulated worlds had intrigued them, and they had monitored his progress closely, even subtly influencing his research from the shadows. As the Architects unveiled the truth, Robert's emotions were a chaotic whirlwind of awe, fear, and curiosity. The weight of this new knowledge was both terrifying and exhilarating, as he struggled to make sense of his place in this grand cosmic experiment. The Architects, sensing his internal turmoil, offered him a glimpse into their world, a chance to see the inner workings of their reality and witness the unimaginable scope of their experiments. They led him to a large chamber filled with advanced technology that hummed and pulsed with energy. At the center of the room, a massive holographic display showed the intricate web of countless simulated worlds, each a unique and complex tapestry of life. As Robert gazed upon the display, he felt both humbled and overwhelmed by the vastness of the Architects' work. The scale of their experiments was beyond comprehension, and he began to realize just how little he truly understood about the nature of reality. Despite the staggering revelations, Robert felt a growing determination within him. He knew that he had been given an opportunity that few would ever experience, and he resolved to make the most of this extraordinary gift. He vowed to learn all that he could from the Architects, to expand his own knowledge and understanding so that he might one day unlock the deepest secrets of the universe. With this newfound purpose, Robert stepped forward into the unknown, ready to face the challenges that awaited him in this strange and unfathomable reality. Little did he know that the journey ahead would test the very limits of his sanity and force him to confront the darkest aspects of human nature. As Robert delved deeper into the world of the architects, he became more and more immersed in their work, eager to learn from their vast knowledge and experience. They guided him through their complex experiments, patiently explaining the intricacies of their simulations and the deeper meanings behind their studies. Over time, Robert began to understand that the architect's primary goal was to explore the nature of existence itself. Through their experiments, they sought to uncover the fundamental principles that govern the universe and to answer the most profound questions of life, consciousness, and reality. The architects were particularly interested in the concept of fear and its role in shaping human behavior. They believed that fear was a driving force behind much of humanity's actions and had the potential to either hinder or catalyze human evolution. As part of their experiments, they had introduced various challenges and obstacles into their simulations, designed to push humanity to the brink and force them to confront their deepest fears. Robert's own research had focused on the nature of human consciousness and the potential for transcending fear through understanding and self-awareness. This work had resonated with the architects, who believed that by studying the human mind and its relationship with fear, they might unlock new insights into the nature of existence itself. As the days turned into weeks and then into months, Robert dedicated himself to his studies, working tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of the architect's experiments. He began to develop new theories and ideas, fueled by the knowledge he gained from his extraterrestrial mentors. His mind expanded, reaching heights he had never thought possible. Despite his progress, however, Robert could not escape the gnawing feeling that something was missing. While the architects had granted him access to their world and shared their knowledge with him, they remained distant and enigmatic, always holding something back. He sensed that there was more to their work than they were willing to reveal, a deeper truth that they kept hidden from him. Determined to uncover this hidden knowledge, Robert pressed the architects for answers, desperate to understand the true nature of their experiments and the purpose behind their simulations. As his questions grew more insistent, the architect's demeanor began to change, their once patient explanations replaced by a growing sense of unease and caution. Unwilling to be deterred, Robert continued to seek the truth, pushing himself to the brink of exhaustion in his quest for understanding. Little did he know that his relentless pursuit of knowledge would lead him down a dark and treacherous path, one that would ultimately force him to confront the very essence of fear itself. As Robert's relentless pursuit of the truth continued, he began to notice subtle changes in the architect's behavior. They became increasingly elusive and evasive, their once welcoming demeanor now tinged with apprehension. Despite their growing reticence, Robert refused to be deterred, driven by an insatiable hunger for knowledge and understanding. One day, while exploring the vast and labyrinthine corridors of the architect's complex, Robert stumbled upon a sealed chamber hidden deep within the heart of their domain. The room was unlike any he had seen before, its entrance guarded by a massive, imposing door made of an unknown material. Its surface was etched with intricate patterns and symbols that seemed to pulse with an ominous, foreboding energy. As he stood before the door, Robert felt a deep, primal sense of dread welling up within him. It was as if the chamber itself was radiating an aura of darkness and fear, beckoning him to unlock its secrets. He knew deep down that the answers he sought lay beyond the door, hidden in the shadows of the chamber. Despite his mounting trepidation, Robert could not resist the allure of the chamber and the knowledge it contained. His curiosity drove him to seek a way to unlock the door, delving into the depths of the architect's archives in search of a key or code that would grant him entry. After weeks of painstaking research, Robert finally discovered a series of symbols that matched those on the door. Carefully, he traced the symbols on the surface, feeling the door's energy respond to his touch. With a final, decisive gesture, he completed the sequence, and the door shuddered and groaned as it slowly began to open. As the chamber's dark interior was revealed, Robert felt a wave of cold, oppressive air wash over him, filling him with a sense of impending doom. Steeling himself, he stepped into the darkness, determined to confront whatever lay within. The chamber was vast and filled with an inky blackness that seemed to swallow all light. As his eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness, Robert began to make out an enormous spherical structure at the center of the room. It pulsed with a sinister energy, its surface alive with writhing tendrils of darkness that seemed to reach out and claw at the air around it. As he approached the sphere, Robert could feel its malevolent energy growing stronger, its tendrils reaching out to ensnare him in their grasp. He realized with a growing sense of horror that the sphere was a manifestation of fear itself, a living, breathing embodiment of humanity's darkest nightmares and most primal terrors. As the sphere's tendrils closed in around him, Robert found himself gripped by an overwhelming, paralyzing fear that threatened to consume him completely. He was forced to confront the darkest aspects of his own psyche, as memories of past traumas and failures rose to the surface, taunting and tormenting him. In that moment, Robert understood the true nature of the architect's experiments and the role of fear in their studies. They had sought to harness and understand the power of fear, hoping to use it as a catalyst for growth and enlightenment. But in doing so, they had unleashed a force that was as terrifying as it was powerful, a force that now threatened to destroy Robert from within. Unable to cope with the abyss of fear he had witnessed in the chamber, Robert's mind began to unravel. The knowledge that he had come face to face with the embodiment of absolute evil was too much for him to bear. His sanity slipped away, and he found himself consumed by the darkness within. The once brilliant scientist who had sought the truth of existence and faced the very essence of fear, now found himself trapped in a nightmarish world of his own making. His thoughts were chaotic and fragmented, as the horrific images from the chamber and the terrible truths he had learned from the architects haunted him relentlessly. Unable to distinguish between reality and his own tormented psyche, Robert withdrew from the world, seeking solace in the depths of his shattered mind. He spent his days wandering the corridors of his amygdala, a haunted, sorry figure. As Robert's mind descended into madness, the architects watched with a mixture of curiosity and sorrow. They had hoped that he would be able to accept the truth and join them in their quest for knowledge. Instead, they had driven him to the brink of insanity, a cautionary tale of the fragility of the human mind when confronted with the unimaginable. Filled with regret and concern, the architects debated whether to intervene and save Robert from his own darkness. But they also recognized that doing so would interfere with the natural course of his journey and potentially undermine the lessons he had learned from facing the abyss. Ultimately, they decided to offer Robert a lifeline, a chance to find his own way back from the edge of madness. They implanted a seed of hope within his chaotic thoughts, a glimmer of light in the midst of his darkness. This seed would take the form of a recurring dream, a vision of a door bathed in a warm, golden light, symbolizing the possibility of redemption and healing. As the dream began to take root in Robert's mind, it provided a beacon of hope amidst his torment, a flicker of clarity in the chaos of his thoughts. He became fixated on the door, drawn to its promise of escape from the darkness that had consumed him. As Robert continued his descent into madness, the flickering light of hope he had been following morphed into the sterile, white light of an operating theater. Robert suddenly found himself jolted back to consciousness, lying on a hospital bed, surrounded by doctors and nurses who had just completed a life-saving surgery on him for multiple traumatic injuries. It turned out that Robert had been in a severe accident, and over the course of the hours-long surgery, his mind had concocted an elaborate, immersive fantasy where he ventured into the realm of the architects and confronted the embodiment of fear. The pain and confusion of his trauma had seeped into his subconscious, weaving a vivid tapestry of fear and darkness that had consumed him. As Robert slowly regained his mental functions, a maddening conundrum plagued him. Either all his experiences with the architects and the abyss of fear were real, which meant that none of this reality was true, and everything was an illusion and nothing mattered, or all of it was a figment of his imagination, a testament to the incredible power of the human mind. He found himself grappling with the possibility that the mind, uncontrolled and untethered, has the capability to control one's reality, plunging itself into chaos when faced with extreme trauma or pain. The line between reality and illusion had been blurred, leaving Robert uncertain of what was true and what was merely a product of his own tormented psyche. As he lay in his hospital bed, slowly recovering from his injuries, Robert was haunted by the memories of his journey into darkness. The vividness of his experiences left him questioning the nature of reality itself, unsure of whether he could trust his own senses or the stability of the world around him. As Robert continued to grapple with the perplexing conundrum of reality and illusion, the weight of the unanswered questions and uncertainty eventually proved too much to bear, causing his fragile, weak-willed mind to crack once again, chaotically plunging him back into the depths of madness from which he had so narrowly escaped.
Subscribe to Quantum Dreams for more AI-generated sci-fi stories.